Well, good midday, good midday, good midday, good midday to you, one and all. We are grateful to God for this awesome privilege and honor to be with you on today. We survived the storms, we've survived the rain. God is still good. Kathy, how are you? Good midday to you. Good to have you with us. I beat you this time. Usually, you on here before I do, but I appreciate the fact that on a consistent basis you are, excuse me, right there, and grateful to God for that. Sinuses is draining, may be one of the residual effects from the shot that I take. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Gina, good to have you with us. Thank be to God for each and every one of you. Grateful to God for everyone who is coming on. And I'm going to wait till some more people get on, and I'm going to say what I need to say so I can stay in trouble. And the truth of the matter is, I kind of like it. Yeah, I should. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive. I'm just having a moment, and I'm trying to contain it so that it doesn't come across as being arrogance. So for that, we bless His holy name for those of you that are here. I just can't seem to be able to clear my throat. Denise, Michelle, how are you? Michelle, thank you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for what you posted. I appreciate that more than you will ever know. Good midday, Erica. How are you? And good midday to each and every one of you. Yeah, it is good trouble. It is good trouble. I am let's see. I'm trying to see I'm trying to see if I can frame this within the appropriate context. But I'm gonna wait a minute. I'm gonna wait a minute. I got 2 more minutes, and let's see how many more get on to be with us on today. That way, I can say it one time and go from there. So again, just grateful for you one and all. Grateful. This is, and for some people, yes, these are trying times. Yes, these are absolutely. Uh, the challenges are from time to time overwhelming, but it's an opportunity. Pastor elect Jordan, how are you, sir? Okay. I'm staying hydrated. I got one here, I got one over there, and I just ordered. I have 8 cases in the back of the man cave. I think it's 8, and ordered 3 more. I just want to make sure that I stay hydrated. Yes, sir. I have to make sure that I do that. FO, yes. Thank you so much. 27 years. Can you believe this? Denise, it's 27 years that the Lord has blessed us to be at the helm of the Union Church, and we are grateful. Let me go ahead and get started and say what I need to say. I want to say to everyone that I am grateful for your voter participation. From what I gathered, Minister Sarah, good midday to you. From what I've gathered, from what I've heard, the information that was, Ida, how you doing? Good midday to you. The information that I received. Good midday, Minister Faye. The numbers, the numbers of people in what is considered to be an off turn election were tremendous. They were tremendous. And I need to applaud and to thank you, not just you, but those pastors of OBSC who coordinated the effort in order for people to get to the polls, and they did it. And they did it in tremendous numbers. I want to say this in such a way so that I don't jeopardize anything. But I am a firm believer in being led of the Lord. And even though I was told some things wouldn't happen, I have learned to call things that are not as though they are. Can I tell you something about God? Can I tell you something about how God operates? You have to remember that he functions and exists in past, present, and future, which means he already knows the results of everything before anything is even initiated. And so the Lord spoke to me. Hey, LMA dear, how you doing? And told me what was what. And I went with it. Okay. And it came to pass. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm going to say. Let the works I've done speak for me. I couldn't help it. I was so overwhelmed with what God did, and the people who participated in the process was tremendous. And the fight is not over. The fight has just begun. But I believe in my spirit that we will win. That's all I'm going to say. Didn't mention any names, didn't mention any parties, didn't mention any affiliates. But I will mention this. When God places something or someone in my spirit, it is because he already knows the outcome. My job, until time catches up with what's taking place. That's right. The real fight will be August 2nd and leading up to that. Faye, how are you? And that's what we have to be prepared for. And that's what we have to look for. And now is the time for us to begin the organizational process to make sure in the midst of what's going on that every vote counts. I'm telling you. A good midday, Cecile. Last night was a wake-up call to some people. But the thing is, there's some more people who need to wake up. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? And so I wanted to share that. I want to do that. And then I'm going to get into the lesson. Don't forget tonight. Good midday, Elder. How are you? Tonight is the first night of the pre-celebration. For the 27 years, the Lord has blessed us to be at the helm and to be the under shepherd of the Union Baptist Church in Youngstown, Ohio. So, yes, you can come. It kind of got muddled a little bit, but yes, you can come in person or you can watch virtually. Whichever way you want to do it is fine. We are still exercising the protocols. Temperatures and masks must be worn. That's just the way it is. And that's how it's going to be for a little while. For whatever reason, I went to the store today and folk act like ain't nothing out there. People are acting like nothing has happened. Kaylee, how you doing? How you doing? People act like, everything is just fine and good. I'm going to get you, Jaleesa. How you doing? Thank you for being a part of the celebration. And so I'm excited. I can finally get excited about the anniversary because the primary is over. If that makes sense to you, I really haven't focused on it. I really haven't thought about it because I was so consumed with making sure that folk got out to vote. That was my priority. 6:30 sharp. We begin, and I pray that we begin at 6:30. 6:30 is when the experience of the pre-celebration is supposed to take place. 6:30. Come on with your glad rags and your shout shoes. We're just gonna give God glory for what he has done, he is doing, and what he shall do. Let me look at this text for just a couple of minutes. I want to take a look at this text because I think this is important for us, and it may be a clarification and helping us to understand the importance of the message we have to offer and who we should and should not offer it to. Now get this. This is important. Thank you so much, Don. How are you? Good midday to you. This is important. This is really important. If you cannot operate appropriately in verse 7 if you have not checked yourself in verses 1 through 6. This is what I try to get you to understand. New Testament is written in pericopes, which means it is just one continual writing, and the author of the Bible broke it into chapters. But what you have to see here is there is a thought that Jesus is sharing, a principle that Jesus is sharing, and in the midst of that, he's making sure that before you get, verses 1 through 5, you cannot handle verse 6 until you are appropriately rooted and grounded in verses 1 through 5. Good afternoon to you, Lady Lynette Brown. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the work that took place. I'm trying to make sure that I don't say it in an inappropriate way so I don't get myself in trouble. But last night, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I just keep talking about last night. I know what the Lord said. I know what the Lord said. And I was told by so many people that it would not happen. I was told by people that it was not going to take place. I was told that it would be impossible. But with God, all things are possible. And I'm trying to preface what I'm saying, but I need y'all to read in between the lines. When I saw the numbers, I told God, thank you. And the reason I told him thank you is because I know what he says is true. And one thing that you have to learn, and one thing that you got to grasp and understand, is that you many times will be in the minority when God speaks. Jesus, am I teaching this? And I'm not even trying to teach this. Many times when God speaks, it is usually against the grain. It's against the norm. It does not settle in the hearts and minds of people according to their own ingenuities, capabilities, or notions. But God takes the foolish things of men to confound those, or to confuse those, or to baffle those who think they know everything. And again, I do not know everything. I do not. But I know who does. And I've learned along the line how to listen. The struggle is obeying. Oh, bless his holy name. Okay, let me get back to this. So you cannot operate in verse 6 of chapter 7 until you have conquered verses 1 through 5, because you cannot discern, you cannot recognize, you cannot participate, you cannot move forward in verse 6 until you understand verses 1 through 5. Now here's what it says. Do not give what is holy to dogs, nor cast your pearls before swines, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Now, here's what you have to recognize. When it talks about don't give that which is holy to dogs, you have to understand the culture at that particular time. Dogs were considered to be unholy. It talks about do not share with people who have an antagonistic, savage, snarling, hateful spirit toward truth and righteousness. Jesus, if I'm not teaching this thing, he says, and this is something that I believe, Barbara, good midday, what I believe is a lesson we need to learn in this season. because many people are trying to convince people who are nullified, insensitive, non-discerning, non-concerned about truth. That's why people are wasting their time trying to convince people what truth is when they themselves will not embrace truth. And here's what happens, Rebecca. Here's what happens. And many of us have been guilty, including myself. Many times we have invested so much time and energy on the dogs and swine that we forget about the babies. Okay. Y'all can't handle what I'm saying. While we're busy trying to give truth to hatred, truth to savage and nasty people, the babies are suffering because they are being neglected while we're trying to convince somebody who cannot be convinced that this is the truth whereby we are to live by. And I think if you don't get anything else, if you don't catch anything else, this is important. How many of us have tried to convince people that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life? How many of us have wasted all of this time trying to tell them over and over and over and over again, and they became antagonistic, they became hateful, they cussed you out, they did all kind of stuff. And while you are trying to convince those who are not willing or even able or even want to entertain holiness and righteousness, we have neglected the babies who need the nurturing and the time that we have given to other people. I have learned this in the pastorate, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying it, but I'm going to say what I got to say the way I need to say it. I have learned that while I'm busy trying to convince other people, good afternoon, good midday to you, Sylvia, other people about the power, the presence, the provision, and the performance of Jesus Christ in their life, I have taken so much time away from those who want the truth, trying to convince those who don't care about the truth that Jesus is the truth. And so what happens is I create starvation and neglecting the babies while I'm too busy trying to feed somebody something that they're regurgitating every time I give them a presentation. So it says here, you got to remember that both dogs and swine are considered to be impure. Okay. And so in the midst of this, you also got to remember that the kind of dogs that they are talking about in the Middle East are different than the dogs here. The dogs of the Middle East basically fed off of garbage and trash, and they were wild dogs. Now, over in Africa, you'll see more wild dogs than you will here. Most of the dogs here, even your pit bulls, are nothing in comparison to wild dogs. Wild dogs will attack anything. Wild dogs will eat anything. Wild dogs will feed on carnage. Okay? And so what you have to remember is that they will turn on you. See, and then the hogs will take that which is precious and trample it under feet. And so in the midst of this, and you got to look at this, you got to look at this. In the midst of this, because hogs are only concerned about feeding themselves, and they could care less what they walk on, walk under, or anything. And so what will happen is the very people, good midday, though, the very people you are trying to convince are the very people who will turn on you. Oh my God. And so if you have not mastered verses 1 through 5, you will fail in verse 6. Because verse 6 says, while you do not waste your time with ravenous people and angry and malice folk, don't lose your sensitivity to the ones who are hurting in the midst of that. Lord, am I teaching? Am I teaching this lesson? Okay. You cannot say that just because someone, hey, Nancy, someone is going through a moment that they are not worthy of saving. You've got to know that's the reason why you can't pull the toothpick out of somebody's eye and you got a beam in yours. Because if you have a beam in your eye, you will not be able to see, discern, or differentiate between that which is hurting and that which is ravenous. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I need us to get this and to understand this, Pee Wee, so you can recognize here if folk don't want to hear what you got to say and they are antagonistic and they are hateful towards you because of your presentation, leave it alone and minister to the people, to the people, to the babies, to the innocent, and to the hurting. And leave them other knuckleheads to themselves. Leave them other crazy folk to themselves. Because can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? The same dogs and hogs that if you deal with them at the wrong time, it says, and they will tear you to pieces. They'll assassinate your character. They'll talk about you like a dog. They'll treat you like dirt. They'll slap you around. They'll do all kind of things to you. These same people, somewhere down the line, will knock on your door. Did you hear me, Mary? Did you hear me? Did you hear me, Erica? And while you have, I used to tell Lady Harrison this all the time. Good midday, Gaither. I used to tell Lady Harrison this all the time because she was good at fussing at the kids. Y'all stop. I told her, I said, you need to save that breath for when we get older. I ain't talking but so much for so long. And after that, there's going to be some action and I'm going to go on about my business. Because when I get older, I'm going to need this breath that I done wasted hollering and screaming at kids and stuff. And here's what I've learned, y'all. But don't get happy about this if you're still flunking verses 1 through 5. Don't get excited about this if you have not conquered the thing that's still conquering you. If you got a beam in your eye, don't bother with verse 6. And the reason is because you need, y'all ready for this? Clear vision. You need clear discernment. You need clear understanding. And I got one more thing to give you. And you need a clear course of conversation. I've learned that if you don't want to hear what I have to say about the Lord, if you don't want to hear, I press on because there's somebody somewhere who's starving for truth who will be more than happy to receive what I have to offer. Listen, I got to go. Don't forget 6:30, either in person or virtually, begins the celebration tonight of our 27 years as the pastor of the Union Church in Youngstown, Ohio. Pastor James Bowie, one of our sons from the Greater Friendship Baptist Church, will be our preacher for tonight. And I'm really, thank you, Sylvia. I am really excited. Now that the primary is over, I'm excited because I believe that eyes have not seen, nor ears heard, nor has it entered into our hearts what great things God has in store for his people. I'm waiting on my Bible study, folk. We gotta make sure we persevere and don't lose heart. Don't lose heart. For we will receive our due season if we don't lose heart. Love you, love you, love you one and all. Thank God for you. We look forward to either seeing you in person or seeing you online as we lift up the name of the Lord together. Don't forget the protocols are still in place. Masks, social distancing, sanitizer. We got sanitizing stations all over the place. But we're still going to magnify his name because God has done great things for the Union Church in 27 years. I cannot believe it's like time flew by just like that. But I'm grateful to God that all is well. Okay. Thank you so much, Kimberly. We're grateful to God for each and every one of you, for your salutations, for your greetings, and for your love. We appreciate you one and all. See you tonight, 6:30. May God bless you, and may he keep you is our prayer.